I'm Destiny Collins, and this is my place in Canadian history. It all began with my granddad. He was the first one to come to Canada. David De Castro, who was born on February 13, 1936, in Port of Spain in Trinidad and Tobago. Tobago is Trinidad's sister island, which is located in the Caribbean. David has a brother named Delano. His father had died in an accident when he was a baby, so he never knew him. But David was raised by his mother, Lucille Carmina Wiles, and his stepfather, Archie Wiles, who was a batsman on the West Indies cricket team. In 1936, Trinidad and Tobago was part of the British Commonwealth nations, meaning that it was part of the British system. David was a part of the 3% of the country that was Caucasian. David attended Mount St. Benedict, a boarding school in Trinidad, from when he was 8 till his late teens. David was always a troublemaker, but he graduated and always had a passion for music. One of David's friends wanted to come to Canada for a job opportunity and offered David if he wanted to come. At the age of 18, David left Trinidad seeking for an adventure in Canada. David boarded the SS Argentina, a luxury ocean liner commercial ship, took it from Port of Spain, Trinidad, to New York in the United States. My granddad said that at the time it was very easy to get into Canada because Canada was allowing many immigrants into the country under the leadership of Prime Minister Trudeau. From New York, David and his friends took a Greyhound bus to Montreal and arrived in Canada in April of 1955. David and his friend did not know anybody and were completely on their own. Keep in mind that David knew nothing about Canada. He didn't even realize that the people spoke French until he arrived in Montreal. He met other Trinidadians in Canada and had many friends, but they lived in a dump, so they had to get a job. David had many different jobs that ranged from an insurance policy writer to a restaurant owner, but none of them interested him, so he gave it all up to become a musician. In Montreal, Dave also realized that he did not like the cold winters in Canada. David was in many calypso bands when he lived in Trinidad, so he decided he would form one in Canada. Soon, David was touring Canada and the United States with a band called the Fabulous Calypso Bandits, on an adventure with his passion for music. In 1969, David was crowned the first Calypso King at Maple Leaf Gardens and was the first king of the Toronto Caribbean Festival that still goes on today in downtown Toronto. David was then known as the Bandit, which many people still call him today. He met many famous musicians and was a master of ceremonies for many famous artists from the Caribbean. My grandfather is a songwriter of Caribbean calypso music, which he still writes and plays today. He got married in 1956 to my nana, Jackie, and they soon had their first baby girl named Patricia. Then my Aunt Mercedes was born and her sister Cassandra. My mom, Charmaine Amelia David De Castro, was born in 1967 and was the fourth child. David and Jackie got divorced and David took his kids to Toronto where he met Jennifer de Montfort, my granny, who had also came from Trinidad. Jennifer had also been on an adventure. She moved from Trinidad to England for university, then went to Canada by herself, where she soon sponsored her family. Jennifer and Dave got married in Toronto in March of 1971 and had 2 more kids, my uncles, Dwayne and Ryan. Jennifer took care of all the kids. Jennifer also grew up in a big family. She had 4 siblings, so everything was focused on her now very big family and having 6 kids to look after, which was not an easy task. Being born in a warm country like Trinidad, Grandad wanted to go back to a hot place. And in 1981, David finally had decided that he had enough of the cold winters and would move his family to Florida in the United States. His 2 eldest daughters, Patricia and Mercedes, stayed in Canada to finish school, and the younger 4 children moved to Florida. My mom, Charmaine, at the time was going into high school. 9 years after finishing university and graduating with a Bachelor of Arts degree in criminology, she moved back to Canada to be with her 2 older sisters, while everyone else remained in the U.S. Dave and Jenny still live in Florida and we try and visit them as much as we can. So what is the big difference between My mom met my dad, Kenneth J. Matthew Collins, in July 1996. My dad was adopted by Gord Collins, who came from Scotland in 1954 after World War II, and June Fitch, who immigrated to Canada from Croydon, England in the 1950s. My dad also grew up with an older sister named Allison. He was raised in Markham and played soccer throughout his childhood. My grandparents now live in Brooklyn, Ontario, so we see them often. All we is one. In 1997, my mom and dad got married in Toronto, bringing together my two amazing families. They had bagpipes and steel drums at their wedding. A year later, I, Destiny Carmina Collins, was born on June 18, 1998. I was named after my great-grandmother, Lucille Carmina Wiles, who died before I was born. The next year, my brother Carter was born, and in 2001, my first sister Vanessa was born, and then in 2003, Rachel was born. Together, we all formed this crazy, loud, loving Collins family. My family is all very close, and we all get together as often as we can, which is hard to do because there is a lot of us. We have family reunions, share stories and talents, which is so much fun because I get to see all my cousins, aunts, uncles, and grandparents. My foolish, insane, big family is a huge part of who I am today, and it is all thanks to my mom and dad. Thank you for watching. All of a sudden, all